What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Lawa. I think we're on episode 4 now, and the past week at Apple was pretty busy. A lot busier than I personally thought it was going to be. I thought it was going to be a pretty slow week, maybe new iOS 12 beta, maybe just iOS 11.4.1 in public release form. But it was a very big week. We got new MacBook Pros, we got the iOS 11.4.1 update, we got some crazy new iPhone rumors, and of course, this is the weekly show where we're going to break all of it down once again in a little bit of a different way, from maybe a different point of view. And the first story I want to talk about this week is iOS 11.4.1. This is something that people wanted to see for a long time, and something that it definitely feels like Apple should have released earlier than when they released it. There just wasn't a lot happening with the update, and waiting any longer than when Apple did decide to release it wouldn't make that much sense to me, because it's such a tiny update, and the only change is like 2 bug fixes, and I think one was to fix something with the way Outlook syncs, and then you got a new feature inside of settings that is supposedly supposed to make the gray key iPhone password hacking tool work not as well, but apparently there's already a way around that, so I don't even know if it was that effective of a fix in the first place. But iOS 11.4.1 is out now for anybody that is running iOS 12. Obviously that doesn't apply to you, but if you were on iOS 11.4 that introduced AirPlay 2, that's a pretty solid update, and probably going to be the last iOS 11 update that we ever see, just because iOS 12 is right around the corner. Apple says it's coming sometime this fall, which they don't tell you the exact month ever, but they'll usually announce the release date of iOS 12 the day that they announce the new iPhones. This year, that's probably going to be in September, like it almost always is. And I think that's what's going to happen again this year. So iOS 12 will probably be coming in September. Until then, the latest public release version of iOS 11, I think, will be and remain iOS 11.4.1. Now, after that, we got a story that was really interesting, a story that I was not expecting, because it sort of followed up and corroborated on something that we had heard back in January of this year, which was the iPhone X will be getting discontinued. Now, back in January, the iPhone X was only 2 months old, so it was a much bigger story. It was a lot more flashier, or a lot flashier in general as a headline, but a new report states once again that the iPhone X will be discontinued, and in addition to the iPhone X, we're also said to be losing the iPhone SE. We won't be seeing a second generation model as of right now. iPhone SE and iPhone X both going down the drain, because while it sounds kind of crazy right now, it actually makes a lot of sense, because Apple's new product pipeline, having the iPhone SE or the iPhone X still around would sort of cannibalize the sales from the new phones. And of course, Apple wants everyone having the new phones, because number one, they're going to make a lot of money off of sales. And of course, when someone gets the new iPhone, someone else is going to see that, and it's sort of just a domino effect from there. At least that's my theory on why iPhones sell really well at the beginning of the year. And there's a lot of hype. So with the iPhone X discontinued and the iPhone SE discontinued, there will only be 3 iPhones available for purchase, in addition to like the iPhone 7, which I think will be the last iPhone up for sale on Apple's site. Oh, and the iPhone 8 will be around. I forgot to mention that, I think, in my initial video, but the report did say that the iPhone 8 and I think the iPhone 7 will stick around as lower end options. But for the 3 new iPhones, we're looking at the 6.1-inch LCD model. It'll be around $700. The second generation iPhone X around $900, and the iPhone X Plus right around $1,000 based off the current pricing rumors. And it's going to be a pretty good lineup for sure. But what's even better than the iPhone lineup this year is the entire fall 2018 product lineup. Honestly, blew my mind when we first heard about it, because I was not expecting to see this report from Min-Chi Kuo in the first place. It was one of those reports that came out of the blue, but also had a crazy amount of information inside of it. There was talk about all kinds of new products: the new iPhones, new iPads, new MacBooks, an iMac, a Mac Mini, new Apple Watch, new AirPods, and AirPower. We rarely get a report chocked full of that much information, but based off the latest report, I believe it's sourced from TF International Securities, we're going to be seeing a ton of new products this fall. So if you start saving up now, you might be able to afford 1 or 2, because I think it's going to be relatively expensive. I think the biggest part of this report was the fact that the Mac Mini isn't dead. Up until this point, It had been 3.5 years before we heard any word of a Mac Mini refresh. And I want to say around a year ago, Tim Cook in an email had said, like, don't worry, it's not dead, but had never really confirmed or denied the existence of a new Mac Mini in typical Apple fashion. But according to this report from Co., we will be seeing a new Mac Mini soon, which is really important because I think a lot of people want a desktop Mac for $700 or $800 that already have a monitor, that already have a mouse and keyboard, but don't want a MacBook, and they also don't need the power of an iMac Pro or something like the Mac Pro, which is $3,000. Like, it was this perfect sweet spot for anybody that wanted a nice Apple desktop that didn't have the most power or the highest specs, just a really good overall computer, and Apple randomly abandoned it, probably because it didn't sell as well as the MacBook, just because I think if you can pick one computer, if you have the choice between a laptop or a desktop, I mean, the laptop clearly has the most versatility because you can use it as a student at school or bring it to work with you every day or watch Netflix on it and carry it around. It's not set stationary, which is the whole point of laptops in general. They fit in a backpack. So the Mac Mini is coming back. That part's really exciting. We're also expecting a new iMac. We're expecting a new lower cost MacBook. What's crazy about this, and going into the next story, is that this report was talking about the fact that yes, new MacBook Pros with some spec upgrades will be coming in the fall. The day after this report comes out, we get the new MacBook Pros, which is absolutely insane. Like, out of the blue, Apple announces new MacBook Pros. It was one of those days where I just got out of bed and I was walking, I think, into the bathroom, and then I went back to my room to grab my phone for a second, and I saw from Apple Newsroom, because I get like a push notification whenever Apple publishes a new press release, Apple announces like breakthrough MacBook Pro models, and I'm just like, there's no way. Like, these are supposed to come in the fall. I'm not complaining, but I immediately delayed my time at the gym, went into go mode, and worked on a video that did pretty well. And these new MacBooks are really, really great. I've got one. I've tested it. Of course, a full review is coming if you missed my like first impressions on the info, and then of course the unboxing. You can check those out, link up in the top right hand corner of the screen. But they're really good upgrades. I did my math wrong in the video. I had said the CPU was only 27% faster. It is actually 37% faster. Which is cool. I now learned how to do that math properly, so thank you to everybody who pointed that out in the comments of that video. But the new MacBooks, very cool. They are still pretty pricey though. What's weird is that Apple didn't upgrade the non-touch bar model at all, but the two touch bar models, the 13-inch and the 15-inch, got some pretty significant upgrades. I want to say the 13-inch MacBook Pro CPU shot up like close to 90% year over year, and then this the 15-inch was like 37%. GPU's got some nice upgrades as well. Overall, just a really good win for pro users. We were waiting on more powerful MacBooks. This ironically was released the week that like 4 Apple rants came out of everyone saying they were tired of the current lineup and that the MacBooks needed to be upgraded. And maybe this is coincidence, or maybe Apple actually saw this and were like, okay, there's a lot of negativity. We need to push this new product out sooner rather than later. I don't know. I was able to get mine at a Best Buy. I believe they are inside of Apple stores now. So if you were wanting to get one, new MacBook Pros are available for purchase. So if you're interested in getting one, I've had a good experience so far. Of course, like I said earlier, my full reviews will be coming on YouTube very soon. But as of right now, it still feels like a pretty good laptop. Of course, not as powerful as the iMac Pro. It's not supposed to be. It's half the price for the baseline 15-inch model, but still really great. And I'm excited to continue to push it through the paces over the next couple of days. And that was last week at Apple. That was LAWA. Pretty, like I said, pretty big week. Lots of stuff. Good iPhone rumors. New products came out of the blue. We got a new iOS update. Like, we hit everything but a new iOS 12 beta. And I think the new iOS 12 beta will be coming either tomorrow or the day after, because we're at the 2-week mark where we should be seeing a new beta. So that's exciting. I'd love to answer some questions now, see what the general vibe in chat is, because I love to hear your thoughts on all this. Of course, I'll read any super chats that you guys send. First one we got here from Krista White. Love your channel. Thank you so much for the donation. I love you as well. Thank you for watching. Really, really incredible. Let me make my face a little bit bigger on stream right now. All right, cool. Some other questions we got. What's with the two videos? I'm not really sure what that's referring to. Can you talk about the iPhones now? Yeah, new iPhone's gonna be pretty lit this year. We got a new LCD model coming. We got two new OLED models coming. They're gonna range from $700 to $1,000. Low end is gonna be LCD, higher end is gonna be the OLED models, and I think it's gonna be a really, really great vibey year. Like, the design is coming to an LCD model, and I think that's honestly what I'm so excited about. Like, I can envision how a plus-sized iPhone 10 is gonna look. It's just gonna be bigger with the same design. Like, I can visualize a second generation iPhone 10. It's going to look just like this. But what I can't visualize exactly, because we haven't seen an in-hand version leak, is the 6.1-inch LCD model. It's gonna have a bigger screen than the OLED, but be sold for a lower price, which is really, really weird. Very surprised Apple's doing this, unless all the rumors are wrong, which I highly doubt. And it's gonna be crazy. Like, I wanna see this LCD model. I'm so excited for it, and we've heard a lot of things about it. And I'm just really looking forward to that phone at this point. That is the phone I'm most excited to get my hands on. But of course, also looking forward to the iPhone 10 Plus. I'm definitely just a little bit worried right now about how I'll be able to afford all of that. But hopefully we'll have another good month or two on YouTube. So that'd be very, very beneficial. World Cup finals, I did not watch, but I know I'm not very good with sports. I think France won. So congrats. Pretty big deal, huge. I don't even know how the United States ranked, but apparently, like, Germany got upset at one point by, I don't know. I was paying attention to a little bit of it, and it was definitely not my favorite forte. I'm not a huge sports person myself, but I can definitely get behind a team from time to time. As you can see, St. Louis Cardinals on my hat right now. Not that we're doing great. The head coach just got fired. What are your thoughts on the budget MacBook? That's going to be interesting. We're hearing that there is going to be a cheaper MacBook coming this year, which is going to be something that we haven't seen in a long time. Apple's really been focusing on the higher end of the computing spectrum, which, as someone who does video all the time, really appreciate. Thank you, Apple. But for everybody else that doesn't want to drop over $1,000, we're hearing, I think, a sub $1,000 MacBook Air-esque variant is coming, and it's gonna have all kinds of cool bells and whistles, and it's just gonna be like a great low-cost MacBook that I think is supposed to be pretty powerful. At the same time, I also don't know how I feel about it, because I know I don't have much interest in purchasing computers that are not very powerful. I know for the average person, like, the MacBook is probably pretty good, although I think it could be more powerful. But I have all my interest and attention on, like, the Pro models, thus why I bought the new MacBook Pro. I don't know if I would ever buy, like, a budget MacBook, just because I'm at the point where I'm buying products that I know I'm gonna use. Like, I have some iPhones because I do betas, and I have to run a beta on one, public release on another, beta on the second. And I have MacBooks because, like, I'm a college student. I go to school. I edit on the go sometimes. And I have an iMac because I like a good desktop computer for editing videos. It's super powerful. But buying products that I know I'm never gonna use, I have a really, really hard time doing, just because dropping $1,000 in something that sits in the corner of my room doesn't make any financial sense at all for just one or two videos that I'll make on it. But like the MacBook Pro, I use all the time, so that's why I picked that up. Do you think the 3 iPhones that are going to come out in September? Yeah, I do think that they are going to come out in September. That's what pretty much all the rumors have been indicating. And I doubt that Apple's going to switch up the strategy this year, just because they, I don't know. I can't see Apple not doing September. They've done September nearly every year since the iPhone came into existence. I know they started with maybe one in October. I think the first one was announced in January, came out in June or July. But definitely going forward, everyone knows that's when the new iPhones come out. That's when, like, the hype cycle is slowly building right now, and I see it going up a lot. Like, people are getting a lot more excited about them. It's definitely hard to get excited about the next year of iPhones in, like, January, when you may have just gotten a new one. So I totally get why people hate when I make iPhone rumor videos in February of 2018 when they're not going to come out till September. But yeah, they're probably going to come out in September of this year. I had to take a quick drink of water. Do you recommend buying a refurbished iPhone 7? I'm gonna be honest. I liked the iPhone 7 when I had it, but in retrospect, I'm not a huge iPhone 7 fan. Like, the battery life Apple said was better, it really wasn't that much better after I used it for a year. I think the difference between the iPhone 7 and the iPhone 8 is greater than what I think a lot of people portray. Battery life on the iPhone 8, significantly better than on the iPhone 7. Camera on the iPhone 8, I think it's significantly better. Screen, nearly identical, although I think the iPhone 8 has True Tone, which is a new feature. I don't think that the iPhone 7 had True Tone, but I wouldn't personally recommend buying a refurbished iPhone 7. That being said, you can get one relatively cheap. So it wouldn't be like the worst decision ever. It wouldn't be a bad thing. I personally am not a huge iPhone 7, iPhone 6S, older iPhone guy now, just because if you buy an old refurbished phone now, it's probably going to end up outdated very, very quickly. And iOS 12 is going to work some miracles, though. Then again, like, if you buy that old device, iOS 12 probably will improve battery life. It will make your performance better than on iOS 11, which is absolutely crazy. Here's a good one. What do you think Apple's next revolutionary product will be? I want to say the AR glasses or the Apple Car, because those are like the two products that we've heard are on the horizon. The Apple Car being a literal vehicle that Apple will be producing, and the Apple AR glasses will be glasses with augmented reality functionality built in. I'm not particularly excited for either. I was thinking about this the other day because I was thinking, smartphones, like when Apple made the iPhone, before that, nobody had a smartphone. I remember hearing all the time from family members, oh, why would I get an iPhone when I can check my email on my computer at home? Like, yeah, I'm not going to spend $600 on a phone. That's ridiculous. It's for making calls and texting. Nobody's going to buy the iPhone. And even critics early on were like, the iPhone, it's never going to succeed. There's no point. It just duplicates processes that can already be done on your computer. And then look at the iPhone now, arguably the most successful product of all time, one of the most, pioneered 10 plus years of computing in your pocket, in your hand, and I think it's just going to continue to do that in the future. So I was thinking, what is the next big thing going to be? Like, what is Apple going to do next to shock the world? Or is it not going to be Apple? Is it going to be Microsoft that pulls something out that Apple then jumps onto and copies, just like companies did to Apple when they introduced the iPhone? I don't know. I can't think of anything other than like a chip embedded in our brain that would just eliminate the use for an iPhone, and you had like AR built into your head. I don't know. That's a little weird. It's a little bit out there too. I don't even know if I would like that. But I don't know what the next big thing is going to be. I can't see a generation switching to AR glasses. I just, like, I don't know, just wearing glasses with tech built in them, I don't see taking off. I really have a hard time seeing, and maybe I'm the hater now, like maybe I don't see it now, and in 10 years, everybody's gonna have these glasses on. So I could be wrong, and somebody will tweet this part of the live stream at me and say, ha, gotcha. But I don't know. I don't see AR glasses being a big thing, but Apple is working on them. And I mean, I'm sure I'll like get a pair. Like, if I could replace these glasses with something, I'd be interested, but I can't see people who don't wear glasses suddenly wearing glasses. That feels a little bit weird. Do you think the iPhones will get a 120 hertz display? Oh, I wish. I hope. That is the number one feature, I think, out of anything. Triple camera, bigger screen, better screen. I just turned on my flashlight. Out of everything else, I want the 120 hertz display that is currently on the iPads, the iPad Pro models, to come to the iPhone, because it's incredible. If you've never messed with the 10.5 or 12.9 inch iPads that were announced at WWDC 2017, so just over a year ago, please check them out. I know it makes some people sick because it's almost too realistic, it's almost too real, but I mean, I'm looking at my iPad right now, and it is phenomenal. If Apple could bring that to the iPhone, I know the Razr phone is like the only Android phone, or one of the only ones that has that built in. But 60 hertz, nobody realizes that it's inferior until you're introduced to a 120 hertz display. And then I absolutely want a 120 hertz display, but we haven't heard that as a rumor yet. So I'm really hoping Apple's keeping that under wraps and nobody knows yet, because that would be a feature that would warrant an upgrade. I seriously think the technology is incredible. The display technology is out there. Apple did it on a panel twice the size of the iPhone, so I know they can do it on the iPhone. So hopefully we see the 120 hertz display. Should I buy a new MacBook Pro or wait? Is some more updates coming this year? I think if there's a time to buy the MacBook Pro, you should buy a MacBook Pro right now. Some new ones literally just came out this week, and they're not going to get refreshed for at least, at the very least, 6 months. I don't think Apple's going to update them in 6 months, but really probably around a year. So absolutely buy a MacBook Pro now if you've been waiting to buy one. They just got updated. The spec refreshes are really great. Buy one with a touch bar. I don't like the touch bar that much. I don't use it. Like, I'm going to talk about this in my review. I don't like the touch bar at all. But they have really good spec upgrades, so I would highly recommend that. All right, Catherine Monsell says, thank you first of all for the donation and the super chat. What do you think about the iPad Pro refresh? I'm super hyped. I am so excited for the Face ID enabled iPad Pros. That is definitely a product I want to pick up. I'm just, once again, I'm looking at my wallet, I'm looking at the bank account, and I'm not on the 2, 3, 4, 5 M's in the bank account yet. So it's going to be real expensive. I'm definitely gonna have to reach out to some more sponsors to help make videos, literally make those videos possible. But I'm really excited for the new iPads. We're hearing they're gonna have a beautiful edge-to-edge display coming in at 11 inches and 12.9 inches. They're going to have Face ID. There's gonna be no home button. We haven't heard much about the camera system, but I'm sure they'll see an upgrade. I'd like to see dual cameras on it just because it'd be kind of a good meme and I'd enjoy it. But we don't know if Apple's going to put dual cameras, and of course we've heard it could have like an A12X chip inside, really powerful. I'm super excited for the new iPad Pros. I think they're going to be great. I still don't think they'll be able to replace your computer yet, but I'm sure it'll be one step further in that direction. And I really look forward to getting my hands on the new iPad Pros for sure. Should I buy AirPods or wait for Apple Watch Series 4? Well, that's a fair question because we are hearing new AirPods and a new Apple Watch is coming soon. If you can wait, let's see, it's mid-July, so basically 2 months from now is when all the new products are going to come out. We don't know the date, but middle September is generally when they're announced. So I think right around 2 months from now, new Apple Watch, new MacBooks, new iMac, Mac Mini, most of that stuff will be out unless Apple holds a second event later in the year, which is also entirely possible. But yeah, I mean, you could buy it now, but basically anything that's getting updated now that we're only 2 months away, I would recommend just holding off, because if you're going to buy one full price now, why not wait and get something sometimes twice as better or really good in just 2 months? And like, I know waiting's really annoying. I'm definitely the #1 person who just goes out and buys products, but like, if I was looking to buy an Apple Watch right now and I didn't have the Series 3, I would wait until September for sure. Should I get a MacBook 12-inch now or wait for 2018? Once again, I think the MacBook's getting updated in September. So I would wait to buy a new Mac. I'm sure Apple hates me saying this because I'm telling you not to buy a product now, but to buy it later, which will make their like current quarter revenue go down. But I just think that's the smartest decision because you're getting a better computer in just a couple of months for what usually is the same price. Sometimes it's more expensive. You think we'll see new iPads in September, October? If I had to bet, I would say October, but Apple could announce it at September alongside the new iPhones. I don't know if they will. I can't remember if the Bloomberg article that I read said they were coming in September or just fall 2018 in general, but they are in the works, and I'm once again so excited for the iPad Pros. I hope you can see my excitement. Let me see what other questions we got here. Oh, is MacBook 2017 no touch bar still worth? No, I do not think that computer is worth it because the specs are really outdated. They were outdated for, I think, 2017 arguably, and I would not recommend getting a model with with touch bar or without touch bar. Like it sucks because you now, to get the best specs, have to get a touch bar model, and I don't like the touch bar. I don't know any creatives, any other YouTubers who are just like, oh man, the touch bar has changed my workflow. I no longer edit with my fingers, I edit with my mind staring at the touch bar. I do not get the touch bar. It's a gimmick at this point, and it's made to make the computers look really cool. But in complete honesty and transparency, I never use it unless I have to. And I would much rather get function keys on my computer if I could, because I don't like the touch bar that much. Let me see what other questions. MacBook 2015 and 2018. It's pretty outdated. You'll have a slow computer. I've seen a lot of people still buying the 2015 MacBook Pro with the old keyboard, but honestly, the specs are just dated at this point. And I think that if you are someone who does video editing or photo editing or wants to get into that, or just wants to be a creative person working with a MacBook, I think you should just fork out the money and get the specs, even though it's really expensive. Of course, you get a comparable PC for a little bit cheaper on whatever platform you're comfortable with working on, whichever one you feel most creatively alive on. I just have found over the years clearly that for my workflow and what I do, MacBooks and Apple products work the best for me, but I get that they don't work the best for everybody. Do we have any price rumors on Apple Watch Series 4? We haven't heard anything about the price. I would assume it's gonna be the same price as this, which, now that I think about it, I cannot think of off the top of my head. I want to say I got this 42mm cellular model, cellular plus Wi-Fi for $450, $350. Is that expensive for a watch? I don't know. I can't exactly remember how much I paid. But the real kicker with this is the monthly cell phone plan. I think it's only like $10 with T-Mobile, so that's not bad at all, and the taxes and fees are included. I know with Verizon, they get me on the plan being more expensive for my phone, being more expensive for my watch, and you have to pay taxes and fees on top of all of that, which is ridiculous. T-Mobile's just been really straight with me so far, and I think for my phone, for unlimited data, and for my watch with like 6 gigs of data or something, which you don't really need for a watch anyway, it's like $80 a month with taxes and fees included. So it's a really, really good deal. I'd love to work with T-Mobile on sponsored videos in the future. What do you think about Everything Apple Pro? Great guy. He's a workhorse. He works himself to death sometimes. I feel like he makes really great content. He's super knowledgeable about actual hardware. Like, that's the thing with me. I don't know much about hardware. Like, I'm not into taking my phone apart to learn more about it. That's not my jam. My jam is like talking about it, or giving like thoughts and impressions, or just sharing knowledge that you might not know that exists on this phone with you, so you get more value or more functionality out of your device. But Everything Apple Pro is he's a really good guy. He works really hard. Obviously, I'd love to work with him on stuff in the future, and we've talked about it before. We were gonna work on something, but it sort of got pushed by the wayside just because I got busy. And anyway, hopefully we work on something together in the future, because he's a really good guy, and he really, really cares about his YouTube channel, and you can see that in how hard he works. Are we gonna see wireless charging on the new iPads? I don't think so. I wish that Apple would switch to a glass back. That'd make me super, super happy, because I like the way glass feels over aluminum, but I don't think so. I think it'll still be an aluminum back once again, which is great for Apple because it keeps the cost down, but I think glass unquestionably makes a product feel more premium. I mean, a glass MacBook would be really, really cool, but also very, very expensive. What do you think is better, the Mate 10 Pro or the MacBook Pro 2018? I'm not very well versed on I think it's Huawei's MateBook. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure it's made by Huawei. And the MateBook I've seen, it looks really good. It looks like a MacBook. They clearly took some design inspiration from Apple, which is fine. They're totally allowed to do that. But I think it runs Windows or something else. And once again, I'm a Mac boy at heart, so I will not be switching to any other Mac very soon. And I just bought a new MacBook Pro, so I need to use that for at least a year before I buy a new one. Love your wallpaper. Thank you. I appreciate it. I worked very hard on it. What do you think about folding phones for iPhones? I just think it's a bad idea, to be honest. I really don't see the function of folding phones. Just because it seems like a gimmick to like make the phone look different. I would hate to unflip my phone just to start, like that's, I feel like we're going back to 2000 and 2003 just because we were going to be flipping our phones open again. I don't really get it. I've never been a huge guy on the whole flippy phone trend. So I hope Apple doesn't go to flip phones again, because while it's kind of a cool idea to look at and there's been some cool concepts, I don't think it's that realistic. Are Apple AirPods good or not? Are they the same size? I think they're a little bit bigger than the wired headphones included inside of your iPhone box in recent years, but I think they're worth it, absolutely. I mean, if you buy the ones now, if you buy the ones coming later this year, they're still really great. I assume there could be some sound improvements coming this year, but really in general, I think the new AirPods are going to be absolutely great, just as the first generation AirPods were. Like I said in my Q&A that went live yesterday, my favorite Apple product. Seriously, they're really good. For a high school freshman, I want the MacBook Pro 2015. Yeah, I mean, you can get one for relatively cheap now. It won't have the best specs inside, but yeah, I mean, you could buy it now, get a little bit cheaper, of course. Best wallpaper apps? I don't actually use any wallpaper apps myself. I usually rock Apple's stock wallpapers. Every once in a while, I'll rock like some OnePlus wallpapers, because OnePlus does a great job at designing wallpapers, or at least contracting that work out to a talented designer. And I don't really use wallpaper apps. I just kind of find whatever I'm vibing or feeling for the day. What MacBook Pro do you recommend for college plus some video photo editing? Or what MacBook? I would recommend, for video editing or even photo editing, the 15-inch base model's pretty good, and it's really expensive. Like, I think realistically the 15-inch base model for the MacBook Pro should be $1999, not $2,400, because that's $400 of difference. I don't know if there's $400 extra value you get, but if you're doing video editing or photo editing, the bigger screen is so helpful. I love the bigger display for editing. I thought that 2 inches wouldn't be a big deal, but I started on a 13-inch and I actually returned it like 2 years ago when the new MacBooks came out, and I just had to go for the more expensive 15-inch MacBook Pro because video editing is just so much better on a bigger screen. If Apple offered like a 17-inch model again like they used to, I'd be totally down for that as well. I just really like a big screen for editing, hence the 27-inch iMac behind me. It's so nice to edit on a huge screen. I can't emphasize that enough. Favorite artist? Do you like Shawn Mendes or JB? Definitely not a huge Shawn Mendes or Justin Bieber fan. Lately, I've been rocking Kanye. His 5 albums that he produced this summer, so good. My favorite is Kids See Ghosts. If you like hip hop, rap, I guess it'd be called modern music at all, I like it a lot. Drake's Scorpion was as a no-go for me. There's like 2 good songs on the album, I think, maybe 3. But Kanye's work, Ye was really good, Kids See Ghosts was really good. I even like Tiana Taylor's KTSE a decent amount. I've been really on the Kanye vibe lately. Also, just like favorite artists in general, huge fan of The Weeknd. I saw him in concert in November of 2017, and like his voice is not a joke. Like he is, I can't even describe like how much talent that is. His voice is absolutely ridiculous. So those are my favorite artists. Weeknd, Kanye. I also love classic rock stuff like AC/DC, Pink Floyd. Huge Pink Floyd guy. Those are like my favorite artists, I'd say. HomePod versus Sonos One. Sonos One. As I think can you see on my desk? Yeah, so it went out of focus, or went into focus. So I've got 2 Sonos Ones stereo paired on my desktop, or on my desk, and you can get 2 of those for $400. You can get 1 HomePod for $350. I said it in my HomePod review. I stand by this. I have not changed my mind at all. 2 Sonos Ones. Any day, I will take those off of 2 HomePods. The HomePods are just meant to be really bassy and punchy, and they do sound like the music's right there, but I've noticed some sibilance issues where S's really pop, and they just hurt my ears. But music is subjective. Toulouse of Tech absolutely agrees with me on this one, and I like the way the Sonos One sound, and I love Sonos in general. I would love to go to Sonos events when they have them, but they have not replied to my emails yet. Maybe one day. You should listen to Denzel Curry. He's a very underrated rapper and is releasing an album in a few days. Okay, I'll give it a go. Of course, stereotypically, only hit I know from Denzel Curry is I Am the One, the ultimate, but that's kind of a meme. What do you think about MKBHD? Also, like, seems like a really genuinely good person. He focuses more broadly on technology. So iPhone, Android, I think he does Windows, but he does Mac stuff well, and Apple really likes his stuff because he gets products all the time, and he gets to go to events, which is like, he earned that. He absolutely deserves that. And his production team, like, he works with Brandon Havard and I think somebody else, and like, they do great work. He's in an amazing YouTube channel, and there's a reason he's at like 6 or 7 million subscribers right now. It's because his content is worthy of 6 or 7 plus million subscribers. He's really, really great. When will Apple release the HomePod in the EU? I did not actually know it was not out in the EU yet, so I'm not sure. I don't know when the HomePod will be coming to the EU. Power Beats 3 or Beats Solo, which is worth it? I have never actually tried the Power Beats 3. I like the way the Beats Solo sounded, but honestly, I'd recommend AirPods above all those. I just think AirPods are so great because there's no wires at all. And I think with the Power Beats 3 and with the Solos, well, I guess the Solos don't have wires, but I know the Power Beats 3, I'm pretty sure have a wire going around your neck. Will Apple release Will Apple release AirPower? To be determined. Well, I'll get back to you on that. It's apparently coming in September, but we don't know yet. We don't know. They could say it's delayed, because they've done that with products before, where they just keep delaying, and it eventually comes. So hopefully it's coming in September of this year. HomePod recently came to Canada, so maybe in the EU by November, December. Malcolm McGee says, do you think there will be colored iMacs like gold or rose gold? That'd be cool. I definitely wish, like, the color of the iMac Pro is good. It's space gray, but I want a darker space gray. Even on the MacBooks, like, space gray looks good. It is gray, like, it is space with an emphasis on gray. But I want space black. I want jet black. I just want, like, the depth of a black hole. I want to be put onto a Mac, because I think that would look so good. Especially like the jet, for example, the jet black iPhone 7 is the color, the shade, or even the slate, I think iPhone 5, the black/slate iPhone 5. Love that color. Loved how dark it was. The space gray is just gray, and I always am in the mood for something just a little bit darker, a little bit bolder than what Apple's been doing. What MacBook do you recommend for programming? I mean, in general, I think if you're going to do anything that requires a decent amount of CPU power, the MacBook Pros are good. So the new 13-inch or 15-inch with Touch Bar. Tesla iPhone collab? I have not heard of that channel yet, but I will definitely look into it and get back to you and see if we want to do something. I want space black everything. Yeah, I agree 100%. I definitely am a huge space gray, like just deeper space gray fan for sure. Do you think the iPhone 8 is going to be worth it when the new iPhones come out if you were looking to spend around $500? It'll only be a year old, so yeah. If you don't care about the iPhone 10-esque design with the notch at the top and then Face ID and the edge-to-edge display, yeah, I think the iPhone 8 is just a very underrated phone in general. I've had a really great experience with it. It's a great device. I really like the iPhone 8 because it's just reliable. It works well. It doesn't have all the bells and whistles of the iPhone 10, but at the same time, the iPhone 8 is a really great phone, and you can get it for like $300 cheaper, I think, than the iPhone 10. Any idea how much AirPods Series 2 will cost? I think they're going to be the same this year, but go up a little bit in price next year. So, I don't know, $100, $160, $170 this year. Sounds about right to me. Mac or MacBook in September? Maybe both. Apple's going to release a bunch of new Macs in September or October, just sometime in fall of 2018. I guess it could be November or beginning of December as well. But new Macs are coming later this year. So if you're still waiting to upgrade, and just because the MacBook Pro got an upgrade, the computer you wanted to see didn't, just wait a little bit. There should be new Macs coming later this year for sure. Will the iPhone 10 last until 2023? That'd be just around 4.5 years from now. Well, yeah, right around 4.5 years. Probably. I mean, I think it will. I'm definitely tempted to buy an iPhone 10, like sealed in the box now, and wait like 5 to 10 years to unbox it, just because that'd be kind of fun. Yeah, I mean, it'll probably last 4.5 years. Like, I can't see why it wouldn't. Orange or blue iPhone? Orange iPhone. Orange all the way. Very excited for it. Finally getting a new phone. I know that it's not new, but a huge change to what I've got. Oh yeah, no, iPhone 8 is really great. Like I was saying, I think the iPhone 8 will be really, really fantastic. Should I get the iPhone 7 256 for $500 Canadian? I don't know exactly the price inflation for Canadian dollars to US. I know in Canada in general, everything seems to cost a lot more, which is, I feel your pain. Like I would not want to pay that much more for Apple products if I didn't have to. But I don't know. Like I said in the beginning of the stream, I'm not a huge iPhone 7 guy, so I would recommend going to like the iPhone 8 or the iPhone 10. But if you need a new phone, like the iPhone 7 is still good, just compared to everything else we have on the market now. I do think that like the iPhone 8 or the iPhone 10 are my two phones of choice right now. Are you into jailbreaking? I used to be. I used to really be into jailbreaking. I know the 11.3.1 jailbreak just came out, and like the 11.4 beta version as well. I was super into it. I was super into jailbreaking, but I kind of outgrew it. I had some issues. I ran into some boot loops, and my devices were fine. Like they weren't bricked or anything. But I just ran into issues, and the jailbreaks were buggy, and I know that's the nature of jailbreaks, but like in iOS 6, when evasion, when like a serious info security researcher team was doing this, there weren't any bugs, there weren't any glitches or issues, and it was so much more reliable. Now, the security holes are getting smaller, and in general, I just kind of outgrew it with all the features we have in iOS 10 and iOS 11 and in iOS 12. iMac Pro or MacBook Pro? Well, I do love if I had to choose one, I would pick the MacBook Pro just because I think portability is really important on a computer. But if you could do both, that's the dream setup. But I do love, like for a desktop, the iMac Pro is so good. My screen shut off. But I really like the iMac Pro. Really, really great computer for me so far. Last question we're going to take for the day. How much do you think the new iPad Pro 2018 will cost? I think the iPad Pro 2018 is going to be right around the price. Like I could see it starting the 11-inch model, like the upgrade to the 10.5-inch iPad Pro, starting at $649. I would love if they went back down to like $499 again, but I don't see Apple doing that. So $649, $699 for the new iPads is definitely something that I think will be a realistic price for the new iPads. So, yeah, I think that's going to be all the questions for today. Thanks for all the super chats. Thanks for everybody that stopped by. Hopefully you had some fun. If you're listening to this on iTunes right now, of course, this is going to be on YouTube as well. And if you're listening on YouTube, it's available in podcasts like around an hour, just because I have to actually export it and go through it. So if you're listening there, it's available on vice versa. If you enjoyed it on iTunes, you can leave a review. That'd be incredible. But that was Lawa. I want to give one more shout out to Dennis Trewalt for the last donation. Thank you so much. Seriously appreciated. And Lawa is a podcast that airs every single Sunday for now, because I'm going to be going back to college in around a month, and I'm going to have this great thing called homework. So I really hope I can continue this up. I have this awful habit on this channel of starting a podcast, doing 6 to 7 episodes, and then never touching it again. And generally they all start in the summer when I have more free time. So hopefully I can keep it up. You guys seem to really like these. These aren't like view cannons. They don't get a ton of views, but I do enjoy doing this, and it's a more fun and more personal way to connect with you. So that's all for this episode. I've been Sam. I'll talk to you next week, and thanks for watching this episode of Lawa. I will catch you all in the next one. So peace out.